All right, so I'm back with 52 weeks of live coding machine learning operations, and I'm going to keep going with Hugging Face. So far, I've learned a lot of cool stuff about Hugging Face, and I want to just go through as much as I can of what I can play around with. So, to start with, let me share my screen, and I will recap what I was working on last week. So, last week, what I was able to dive into is how to build a MLOps pipeline with Hugging Face. So what I did was I first created an account with Hugging Face. I then authenticated, or basically created an authentication token with my logged in account. I then went to GitHub Code Spaces, coded up some stuff, played around with it, and then got into GitHub Actions, which I set up to automatically deploy an application to the Hugging Face Spaces location. And what's nice about it is it can run something called Gradio, which is an application for demoing the machine learning applications you build. I went through and I built out a text summarization widget, and then I was able to actually use my Hugging Face model. So that's this repo right here, which is GitHub NOGIBJJ, so Nogi Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, which is one of my hobbies, and I went to Hugging Face, right? That's the repo. So next up, one of the things that I'll do is go back over to this Spaces location and actually play around with this a little bit more. So one of the things that I can do here is I can actually create a new space. And in this case, I'm going to call this uh, basically maybe computer vision demo. Let's try that. And what I like about a creative, uh, basically a computer vision demo, is that I can actually play around with things that are beyond just putting text, and there's some really cool things you can do with computer vision from a demo perspective. And I'm going to go ahead here and click on this radio and create a space. And if I wanted to use it, I could just Git clone it here, or the other thing I could do is I could just start editing it right inside of this interface, which I think is pretty cool here. So look, it says hint, create the app in your browser alternatively, which we could basically do right here. So if I go over to this location and I say add file, notice here that I can actually start coding directly inside of this environment. So I can type, basically the demo instructions, right? So I can go here, copy this code, and call this app.py. And I'm actually a pretty big fan of browser-based developments. And we can say create an initial Gradio application. That looks good. The reason I like this is that for really quick demoing, I mean, you can't beat this, right? And what is cool is, look, it's automatically building our demo on the fly right here. And so what's really cool about this is that now my app is running, right? So I can go back and there we go. And we can just say, hello, submit this, and process, and it says hello. So now that I have something working, I can actually make something a little bit trickier, which again, the feedback loop is pretty simple. Now let's just explore the rest of what's going on here. If I go to settings, what else can I do? So this doesn't have any secrets. I could restart the space. So let's go ahead and, click some buttons here. Let's click restart, and we can see it's going through and it's rebuilding. So this is just a process of maybe you did something that was, problematic, like you were consuming too much memory, right? You can see here that this would be one way to reboot it. If I go down here, you can see click this button to trigger a factory reboot. This will force a restart and avoid using cached requirements. This is useful if your space uses GPU and is out of memory. And that's a great way to do things. And if we keep going through here, um, you can see here that it's currently set to public, and that's great. I don't have to worry about it. Uh, and you also could go through here and rename it as well, give it a new name. You could delete it, right? So there's some really cool features here that are available. I think the other thing that would be interesting to take a look at uh, is that you can also look at the logs, right? Which is kind of neat. Uh, and the other thing, as we mentioned here, is that you can just edit things as well. So potentially the next thing to do would be to open up another tab here. And if I go over to models, notice here it says 48,187. So there's 48,000 models available. And I can then select what kind of problem I want to solve. So if I want to go to image classification, that's one problem. Image segmentation, that's another. Token classification, audio classification, summarization, zero shot. You can look at all the different things. It even breaks it into problems: computer vision, natural language processing, audio, multimodal, um, text to image, which is actually kind of interesting. Maybe I'll start there actually, because that sounds too interesting to not play around with. So if I go through here and I sort by this one, and we take a look at it, let's say text to image. Let's try this out. A purple ball is bouncing. What to do? I've never used this. I have no clue what will happen. Let's take a look at this. Um, so in theory, this would generate an image, and it might take a little bit of time to generate. What we'll see here. So this didn't work, which uh, is not a problem because I just go to the next one. Let's go to the next popular one. So this one looks big and deep. What does this one do? Oh, this only works for ImageNet inputs. Let's try it out. A list of possible inputs. Let's take a look at this. Oh, I see. Let's try. So goldfish, a goldfish picture is on my kite. What does that do? This image is not in ImageNet. Okay, how about that? Goldfish. Goldfish, kite. That do? Nope. I see. So it basically just finds an image and hosts it. Um, what else do we got here? We have. Let's go for recently updated, and we'll find a popular. This one looks recently updated, popular. This one does. Let's look at the documentation here and see what I'm missing. Okay, how do you use it? There's several ways to use this. Let's open up in Colab and let's see how they actually implement this. Well, we could just run it. Let's go ahead and try this. So I'm going to go ahead and select change runtime. There we go. It's set to GPU. And let's go ahead and connect. Generate images from a text prompt. That looks pretty cool. And let's go ahead and run all. So we're outside of Hugging Face now. Now, I don't know if we could use this from Hugging, taking a small detour here and playing around. Okay, we're installing some libraries up. We are installing Hugging Face transformers. Let's take a look at how this works. And we can see that we're using a machine that has up to 25 gigs of RAM because I have the Colab Pro environment. And we're also using a GPU, which is very useful. All right. And now we're going to run JAX, which is a machine learning framework that I just recently heard about from Google. And this is not working. Paste your API key. You can find your API key in your browser. Weights and biases. Yeah. Okay. So this one a little too complicated. We'll stop. So I guess that's one of the things that's interesting about doing live coding like this is in the real world, you're going to have a lot of detours and you're going to have a lot of dead ends here. So maybe text to image is going to be too much. Here we go. Inference has been turned off for this model. Potentially, let's have about most likes. Let's try that. And this looks interesting. What is this one? So we can say, let's try this. Avocado painting in the style of Malkovich. Does this work? And so this model is a 1.3 billion parameter model for Russian, recreating OpenAI's DALI, a model capable of generating arbitrary images from a text prompt. You can use automatic translation into Russian. How do you use it? One might say investigate, master, train is our motto. The idea is to create multimodal neural networks. Salvador Dali, an eagle sits in a tree looking to the side. This definitely is pretty cool. Now, will the hosted inference API actually work? That will be the interesting thing. Let's go ahead and try this out. Definitely taking quite some time to invoke this inference API. I'm starting to lose hope here that it will work. I guess I could just leave. Oh, there we go. Text image is not a valid pipeline. Okay, so maybe you can't do the text image inside. So I learned another thing about this. So maybe I need to stick with what I was originally going to do, which was image classification. And if we go to this vision transformer model pre-trained on ImageNet, this is a fairly straightforward idea, right? You find the labels for something, right? In this case, we just give it a picture, and it's able to actually upload it. Teapot, palace, right? Now, do they have a demo? Well, they do. So here's how you use it: is that we can. I see. So it can get an image. It can basically get an image from a URL. So this might work then. So let's go back to our repo here, and let's actually try this. Let's see if I edit this and I was able to paste this code inside. You can see from transformers. And I think what we can ask is, I'm curious how I would build this into a user interface. Like, I guess that's the thing to wonder. So maybe what I do is this. I first try Colab. Let's go back to Colab, and I create a new notebook. This is probably the cleanest way to initially build this out, which would be to first demo it inside of a Colab notebook, make sure it actually works. So we'll call this computer vision, this, and this new model named transformer. So we're going to need to import this. So I'll say pip install transformers. That's, there we go. And then once this is installed, next step, what I will do is run this next piece of code, which should get the model from tensor from the pre-trained location here. Here we go, downloading it, and then use the prediction, which is this URL. There we go, predicted Egyptian cat. So in theory, actually, this might just work. Actually, yeah, let's try this out. I think this will work. I think this will work. So from pill, import image. And what does pill do? It says, I see it grabs the image URL. Okay, I think we can build out a user interface. So I am going to grab this, and I'm going to go to Hugging Face. Where's this? Here we go. Go to Hugging Face, and I can just throw this code inside. We'll paste this here. And what we can do is we'll say, the input was text, return name. Okay, return. And so the output, we need to go back to the output here. And what was the output? It would be this. We would want to basically grab that. Okay, so here we go. Predicted class. So if I comment this out, and we say the greet, so if I call this function as the interface, and the output is going to be a text output. So I think what I'll want to do is put this in here like that, and we'll say, call this predicts, change this to predict, and we can say this would be the results. And that looks like we want to grab this whole thing like this. So we'll do this. I mean, probably an F string is going to be our friend here because it's just cleaner to do that. And let's do this and then do a quote. So we have an F string that shows the predicted class. And then what this would be the URL. And we can actually just we can put this inside of here, which is return back the results. Okay. And let's try this. I think that we're close here, but what we will need is to put all this into a function. Potentially, we could be lazy. We could just do this, and we could grab that. Just paste this inside of here. So image would be the URL, which would be this. Go. So I believe that this should work. So essentially, it'll grab a URL and then it'll run a prediction on it. And I just have to keep this into my buffer so I can remember what I can actually do with it. So let's do that. Okay, let's try this. Let's see if this works. Now, this is where things get a little bit more complicated because of the fact that, well, this, I'm already not liking this. This, we don't need this. We need to get this out. That's going to cost. What is not great about this style of coding is it's a lot more difficult because I have no idea if this code will even work because I don't have a development environment. Well, see, we already see there's a problem. And if I look at this, it says, oh, from transformers, no module named transformers. So next, I'm going to have to go to files, and I'm going to have to say add file, create new file, and create a requirements txt, and I'm going to put TensorFlow transformers and TensorFlow. So we've got both. This should rebuild it, but now look at, I believe it's smart enough to just know that it should look inside of here and install these two libraries. And there we go. We can see the logs. That's looking good. The fact that it's still building is a good sign. Still building. Let's close all this out. Whew. Boy, that's quite a build process. Okay, still building. Refresh. Yeah, so that's one potential weird thing about building it without guardrails of an editor is that you better know what you're doing. This is advanced mode. On the flip side, potentially it's a great way to build a quick demo. I'm going to keep refreshing. Wow, it's still building. What is it doing? Okay, so it's still building here. Still building. Still building. It would be nice if they build out a like a tail like a tail command like they do with cloud-based build systems, but we're okay for right now. Let's keep building. Let's look at the logs. Maybe we're at the end. We're close to the end. Still building. Aha! We finally at least got something. We got an error here, and it says Gradio. Maybe there's a problem. We need to put Gradio in there as well. So let's go here and let's go to requirements. let's edit this and let's add Gradio. And loading again. And if this takes too long, it's not a big deal. What I can do is just check it out in another environment. But let's keep building here. See the logs. Here we go. So it's installing FFmpy, which is interesting. Okay. All right. Still building. Maybe it's done. Okay, let's see here. Refresh. So the one of the downsides I'm seeing so far with building things this way is, not only is it advanced, it's a little bit sluggish, which I don't know if I would use this to build applications. It might be too weird. I think would be a good way to describe it. I might need to build it out. Here we go. So yeah, it's got some kind of a strange error here, and in order to debug this, what I'm probably going to need to do is actually um, is to clone this repo to get this thing working in another environment. So let's go back here to this computer vision demo. And what I can do is, let's see here, C logs, application, file and version. It doesn't give me the link to clone it anymore, which is not horrible because I can figure this out. But basically, I need to clone. I need to clone this, and I'm going to clone it inside of here. So I think I can just open up my code space, and it's this code space is probably going to be a decent environment for me to debug this in. And so what I'll do is I'll just create a second project in the project that I had set up before. And so I'm going to go to this environment, say new terminal, and I can deactivate this one, make a new virtual environment called CV for your vision, source it. Let's say source CV and activate. And then I'm going to say get remote -v. So you can see that it's going to be this is what I'm going to need to clone. So I'm going to go up one level. I'm going to say get clone, and then I'm going to type in name of this space, which would be computer vision demo, like that. There we go. So I got that. Should be. Let's see here. Okay. GitHub. Oh, I know what the problem is. It's going to be. Oh, it's this. I put the wrong URL. So it's going to be this right here. Git clone. No gift. Computer demo. Right. So now if I go into this, I'm going to say make, let's say pip install. Well, let's be lazy here actually. File because that's the way I like to work. And I'll put one. inside of Explorer. Where is it? Why is it not showing my Explorer here file? Open works, open folder. We want to open that. Let's work in this environment. And let's deactivate this one. Let's do, there we go. So we're in this environment, and I'm going to source the CV, activate, and run the install command, which is this. Install. So this should get everything working. Now I need to figure out what did I do wrong. It's probably I messed something up with the Gradio or something like that, because this looks okay. Input, output, text. But let's see what I can do to debug it. Okay. And we can got the installation working. Now if I do Python app, does that even work, or does it blow up? Well, at least it in theory renders, but now does the application blow up? That's the thing I want to figure out. So it's gonna takes a second to get the previewing working in code spaces. Connecting to the forwarded port. Sometimes what I do is I'll just do it a couple times. I don't know why it can be a little bit sluggish. The very first time you launch the space. Okay, so that, wow, this looks like it could work. So if I put this URL in, what does it do? It's going to do the computer vision behind the scenes and deploy it. So now I'm confused because if this in fact does work, let's look at here we go. It says VIT for image classification requires the PyTorch library, but is not found in your environment. Oh, I see. So maybe we're missing an import. Well, okay. Let's do PyTorch here. And let's do make install. Whoa. The error originates from, and it's not likely a problem with pip. Oh, torch. There we go. Make install. Here we go. We got this working. So it looks like maybe what the entire issue was that I had a missing dependency, which again shows why it's so critical to use a environment that is pretty interactive. And now if I go through and I say Python app.py, I should be able to run this in a browser. What does it do? Well, it's certainly taken a while to load up. Let's try one more time. Maybe first time was something going on. Okay, we'll open the browser. Okay, so we're back to where we started. Let's look at I don't see any errors here. If I paste this in, it's going to start building. Well, that's a good sign. So it's doing some downloading behind the scenes. And what's it doing? There we go. Well, that's pretty cool. So what this means is that I do have a working prototype, and what the problem was I was missing this library. So what I could do, the hacky way to solve this problem is to go back to requirements and to edit it and just paste this in. This should fix it. Now, what will happen, it's going to build it again, is that I could test this out and say, like, Google image search, and we'll just look for cats, like cat. We should see a bunch of pictures of kitties. And if I say copy image address, I should be able to go to my little demo app here and paste in a URL, and it should tell me, woo. It should tell me, hopefully that works. Okay. Let's see what it's doing. Ooh. No. Okay, so that was not, that did not work. that was not a good clear. Let's refresh this. Okay. So I'm going to start it over again, actually. I need to not get pictures like this. So if I go to cat here, and let's just open it up in a new tab. And no, we want to say open image in new tab. There we go. That's not a good image. I need a short URL. So here we go, cat. And let's grab this. So I guess this is lots of cats, but this could cause an issue, actually. Let's go to something simpler, and let's find open image in new tab. Let's wait until we find something really simple. Boy, these are really complex URLs. I don't know why they're doing that to us, but how about this? Open image in new tab. Yeah, so it's not giving us the URL for the image, which is annoying. If I open this up and I say copy image address, does this work? Okay, finally have a picture of a cat. Okay, let's go to our demo app here, and we'll paste this in. And if I look at the output, you can see it looks like it's behaving the way I would expect, right? I don't see any errors. Don't know why it's taking so long either, though. But what we could do is actually, at this point, abandon ship for a second and go back to the Hugging Face app. It still has an error, which is annoying if we look at the logs. So what I don't know here is, why is it Transformers Gradio? Now, what I don't know is, let's look at the documentation here for spaces. And let's just read the documentation. What are we missing here? So troubleshooting. I see what are Streamlit and Gradio. Installing other dependencies, just add it to a requirements file, which makes sense. But what is pre-installed? I think that's what we need to know about. So I think libraries. I'm guessing that the okay, Streamlit Radio. Oh, there we go. It comes default with pre-installed dependency. So Hugging Face should already be in. Maybe that's what the issue is that maybe I need to remove those. So maybe I need to remove this, and I need to remove this. Let's try that. But while that's running, I'm going to go back to my environment here, and this thing is just something happened. I'm going to kill this and start it again. And let's try one more time here. And there we go. Open in browser. Yeah, this for some reason is a little bit flaky. It's code spaces sometimes. Let's try it again. Open in browser. Okay, we got a URL. We paste this one. Does this work? So that one worked. And then if I go to this other cat here, does this one work? Right? Egyptian cat. Right? Which is that the right one? Let's double check. Okay. Yeah, I guess it's predicted as an Egyptian cat. So we have something working here. And then if I go back to this here and we look at the logs, we can see maybe this thing has been working again. Go here. Still building. Still building. Yeah, so what I'm wondering is that maybe you don't want to install again libraries that are already pre-installed inside of this, which would kind of make sense that you wouldn't want to do that. Go through here. Go through here. Go through here. Application startup. So this is very weird. So import. Yeah. So I don't know. Something seems strange here. If I go back to this, we say import Gradio. Yeah, don't know. So we have some error that I can't detect, but I was able to get it working in here. That's probably a good place for me to pick up next week and figure out what I'm doing wrong in terms of the computer vision. You never know what's going to happen in live coding, but thanks again for everybody that stayed around, and I'll see you all next week.